Right. Hey, hey, hey. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well where you're at. Chris Courtney here. Um, in the pre-show, busy day ahead. Busy day. Lots of meetings. Um, I hope you have fewer meetings than I have, but it's a good thing to have meetings because there's lots of smart people I get to talk to, and it's super exciting. Um, I have I am ready to get this underway just as soon as Couchbot fires. We've got Charlie in here. We've got Katie in here. Katie's moving in a few different directions. And Katie, I know you're probably going to watch the unrecorded version of this, so I'm just going to add this in right now. I did a little bit of futzing around. So often in these templates that Google sends over, and really for anybody who's following along, if you're using any of the templates that the pre-made things that Google or really anybody utilizes, they spend they spend a lot of time futzing around, adding little padding, little space before. It's all in the formatting is what I'm basically getting at. So I was able to get your alignment fixed, but what I found was in the base template there were some formatting, and this is one of the reasons why I point to templates like, hey, here's an easy way to do it, but as with any template, and I mean any template, if it's a Squarespace template, or if you're pulling in Bootstrap, or if it's a Google spreadsheet or form, like every template that you use, somebody's already futzed around with it, and you're not entirely sure what they have done, and it makes it hard to edit it beyond what they've provided. So that was the case with yours. We obviously did get it fixed, and I'll show you that here in just a moment when we get the feedback loop started, just as soon as Couchbot fires. And it's like 3, 2, 1. It should update any second now. Aside from that, also, you had a number of other questions that we will get to just momentarily. I'm up against a time constraint because I got a meeting starts at the top of the hour, so really just hoping Couchbot fires relatively fast so we can get this out of the gate. Otherwise, not. Oh, there you go, Couchbot. Look at that, right on time. I love that little tool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, greetings one and all. Greetings one and all. Chris Courtney here, New Pragmatic. It's time for the feedback loop. So good to have you along. You know what? I'm super excited to have work here from Katie and Charlie in. So I'm just going to share my screen and we're going to get right underway. So let's start right here with Katie. Katie, you had a question related to LinkedIn. And Katie is going through and adding in a number of items to really focus in on the things that she's going to feature in her on her LinkedIn profile. I think the featured area is super important. If you haven't really begun to feature work or feature accomplishments here, I think it's a big spot where you can make a huge impact. But she's got this existing components exercise that's been connected. And right now the problem is it's the cover of the existing components exercise. It doesn't represent what you're going to find on the other side of it. And because this is a link to the prototype, it's showing this, and Katie's wondering, well, why is that happening? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over and let's see if we can look at the options. I know for a fact that I have access to this, so we're going to hop over to Figma, and we're going to look. Okay, so this is yours, and what you'll find is if we get into, I'm going to zoom out, and let's go to, make this a little larger, about this remix exercise. There's got to be a cover page here somewhere. I just have to remember exactly where it is. You'd think that I would have all this stuff just memorized, but I don't. That's for sure. Come on. Foundations, about this remix. Exercise. It's really bizarre. Assets? No. There is a cover page that is in here, and I just simply need to find it so that I can change the, actually, you know what? We'll do it this way. So this is your home screen, and if you want it to, you should be able to set as thumbnail. And when you set that as thumbnail, it gives it a special presentation. You notice it, oh well, as I zoom in, it basically shifted away from just being a page in your portfolio or in your project, to where now if we come back over to this, if we were to refresh, it should, you may have to relink it. So like once LinkedIn grabs that screen grab, yeah, it's looking like it's like grabbing it, but that's how on the original I set the thumbnail for Figma. So LinkedIn's just picking up that same thumbnail, but by coming in and saying, well, if I can make my way back to it, by coming in and selecting the page and saying, so they have a default thumbnail. We've made this the thumbnail. So I could restore back to the green screen, but by right now, this should be the thumbnail that shows up. So what I'm saying to you is I would relink it in LinkedIn, and that should pull over the new one, okay? And I'm just going to click through and just make sure that we didn't mess something else up by making it the default thumbnail, and we didn't. It's right there. It takes a minute to load, but again, oh, you've got a little piece of line there that needs to be fixed, but minor stuff. Let's come over here to resume. So I just want to make sure that was the okay. Yeah, that was the question you had for LinkedIn, and that's fine. Made a few more edits to resume. Do you know how I can get experience and skills to line up? So we've got it to line up, and really what it was is if you look at this and you highlight it, there was in, oh yeah, it's right here. There was add space before paragraph, and that was throwing things off. Once we got rid of that, things began to line up, and it was on both of them. So you had this really big space to the top, and once you got rid of that, and they were different sizes, and that's what was causing the issue. But it was a formatting error, and it was right here in line spacing, and it was specifically here. I went through everything that was here and started digging around. But that's again typically what you find with a any sort of prototype or template, any sort of template that's handed, or any sort of template that's handed over. It's going to come with presets, and those presets tend to be the things that get in the way when you want to make something really your own. Lastly, let's talk about, so that's the resume. We've talked about this, talked about that. Let's talk about this cover letter. So right now it's a bit long, and let's dive into it and look at it a little more specifically. Dear Miss Ferguson, is so long as that's the person that's doing the hiring, I'm fine with you addressing it there. If you're ever not sure who is doing the hiring, deer hiring team is a great way to kind of cover all the bases. Um, when I discovered the marketing and design internship with Blueboard, I was thrilled by the opportunity to complement my coursework and previous experience with a chance to work in such an innovative environment. I want to be challenged to expand my views on design and elevate my creative skills to captivate people. Blueboard is an ideal workplace for me in many ways, and I believe my recent experiences have prepared me for future success. So, like, I like some of this. When I discovered the marketing and design internship with Blueboard, I was thrilled um, by the opportunity by the chance to work with in such an innovative environment. Like I like that. Um, what I want to know is why you think it's an innovative environment. Like, like, like I'm sure that like yes, it's going to complement your coursework and you're expanding, but I want to hear about you next. I don't want to hear about you right away. I want to hear why you think Blueboard is great. We want, best thing you can hear is somebody else talking about you. All right. What I'm hearing a lot right now is, I want to be challenged. I was thrilled. This is going to work out so great for me. I need to sell them first on why I think that they're, this is fantastic. What you do there is great. It's such an innovative place. Okay, tell me how. Tell me why. Tell me why is it an innovative place? And some of this is just like doing some digging on their homepage, doing some digging through the job listing. So let's see here. Now the second paragraph, you know, my internship at my, I would say my prior internship at QAT Global enabled me to learn the processes of creating a successful, creating successful campaigns in a B2B environment, and at a startup company QAT acquired. I've gained a tremendous I have gained a tremendous amount of knowledge in graphic design, search engine optimization, and how to grow various marketing channels. Um, um, QAT also taught me that you can learn just as effectively with a remote team. Um, I had never met my. So I would say QAT also taught me that you can learn just as effectively in a remote team, period. While I never met my boss, I also never felt lost in team communication. Okay? That's that's a great follow up. Okay, you're explaining to them that I can work remotely. I understand what you do. So I want just a little bit more on. I want a little bit more focus on Blueboard at the beginning. Second paragraph is pretty much lights out. Just a little bit of adjustment. For the past 6 months, I've been in a mentorship program growing my UX and interface skills every day. I've gained experience working with real users, learning to portray their needs into a product. I went from slapping boxes on a page to utilizing grid and proper alignment when creating my prototypes in Figma. Um, Normally, I do not endorse a third paragraph that's focused on you, but here you're kind of moving in two directions, and I think you've done a good job of outlining that you're growing a lot, and that's what an internship is. An internship is, hey, can we get a sponge in here that's going to really benefit from being part of our organization for a short amount of time? I believe my optimistic personality, attention to detail, and need for learning make me a prime candidate. I wouldn't say need for learning. I would say, and my aptitude for learning. Like I'm good at learning. Okay, I I have an optimist. Personality. I'm not gonna rock the boat. I'm very detail oriented. I'm a sponge. I'm a prime candidate for this internship. I'm a diligent worker who is passionate about design, positive impact it can create for a company and its clients. I would be a valuable asset to Blueboard, and will use this opportunity to grow and further the development of my design skill set. I appreciate you taking the time to review my credentials and hope to have the opportunity to chat with you about my interest at your earliest convenience. I would just say have the opportunity to chat with you at your earliest convenience. Please do not hesitate and like chat with you about my interest. No, I just want to chat with you. Okay? And that's so much of this, Katie. It's just like refining the edges off of it to make it more about them. I want them to feel like you want them. Okay? And make it more about them, less about you. You've outlined in those middle two paragraphs why you'd be great. I just needed to focus more on them at the top, and I think this is ready to go. So, like, give it a once over, and let's get a second look at it. Finally, I want to talk to Charlie. So Charlie, like, one thing I like is like I'm seeing a very consistent grid. I'm seeing this. You know, it seems to it has a flow to it now that is nice. What like you're getting in the, this is where we need to talk about typography. Like there are some areas where it's just the typography isn't it isn't great, to be honest with you. And we've got areas like this which is it says prototype, and if I inspect it, I'm absolutely certain that that's like, that can't be Montserrat. There's no way that's Montserrat. That's Montserrat, really? No. Really? How can that be Montserrat? There's got to be something else going on there. That doesn't look like Montserrat at all. Oh, is it misspelled? Oh yeah, it's misspelled. Okay. I was like, what's going on? I'm losing my eyes. It's misspelled. Okay. So the button was misspelled. I was just like, what is happening here? I can't, like, I can't not, that can't be Montserrat. All right. So that fixes that. Obviously, when you get into this larger, when you get into mobile, like you get this, and that's not great. But when we get down here, like the impact is just not, it's just not impactful from the start. When I think about like making a splash and not getting into the I'm going to like show armada. The way you had it before, like where all the screens were turned and kind of coming at us, I felt like it was like a bunch of Star Destroyers from like Star Wars, and I make that reference because I know that you know what it is. Edward, he turns his. I'm not gonna say this is perfect, but they're large enough to where I can like. These are large enough to where I can see what's going on. By comparison, yours are pretty small. If I need to get 3 on here so that I can get these larger, I'm all about it. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I just need these to be larger. I might even consider like a color in the background, something to hold the space. Also, look at the size of design reads versus like problem. Like this is not large enough. I might even move it to the bottom. Again, when we get this nav bar fixed, you know, this being smaller is going to be better for the intro of this. Like just right now, it's not throwing off the page. It just like feels like I'm seeing a lot of blue bar at the top, and this intro section just is not grabbing us. I think part of the reason is the screens are too small. I need them to be larger. And some of that may just be, you know, give me 3 instead of 4. Okay. As we come down, you know, these still feel large. By comparison, I do feel like they're moving in the right direction. You've got this intro now. Um, you've got discovery. It seems like the spacing like kicked up here a notch. I'm not sure why. But at least this is going on. This needs nuance, like a lighter gray. Maybe this isn't in. Maybe the this isn't. Okay, so these are images. So we can talk about that. Should that be an image? Should it just be text in CSS? There's nothing about this that couldn't be just text. Okay, but and then we get down here to Megan Wade, and I really see like a 2-column design where this information for Megan is either it's not present like, okay, maybe Megan's photos over here, but maybe all of Megan's details are over here, rather than presenting it all just straight down. There's a lot of nuance here. Okay, so you've got a better organization on it, but now we need to level up the actual design. And so, we started eking into that last week. I do think that this is where, okay, let's now that we've kind of got the structure reoriented, let's come back. Let's get that nav bar down so it's not dominating the page, and let's make sure that this is dominating, kind of like Edwards is. Okay, Edwards is big, bold. We see it. It holds attention. Some of that is just the fact that he's got pure color across the whole thing, but I'm interested to see what you come up with here. All right, it's not bad, but it's not popping off yet. A few adjustments, and I think you'll be there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this edition of the Feedback Loop. So glad to have you along, and I will see all of you again tomorrow. Take care.